We big boom.
Ready as ever.
Are we ready?
All right, bro.
All right, gentlemen, welcome to the Unpaid Nobody's podcast. 1 second.
That's a good start.
Don't reference it. We cut it out in post. Anyway, welcome everybody to the Unpaid Nobody's podcast. We got a guest here today. Jeff, introduce yourself.
Yes, you have yours truly, Jeff McGue. I work for a radio station in McHenry County, Illinois. And yeah, what else?
Friend of the show. Friend of the show. He's usually at the heart of a lot of our shenanigans.
Very true.
I have known Brandon since 4th grade. So
yeah. Me and Jeff go way back. We go way back.
We go back.
Yeah.
The OGs.
Yeah. I saw my first rap show with Jeff.
Yeah.
What was that?
It was Schoolboy Q, Kendrick Lamar, Mac Miller, and Wiz Khalifa.
Amazing.
Yeah. The Under the Influence tour.
Yeah. Yeah, way back in the day.
It was 10 years ago this year, 2012.
Oh.
It popped across my Facebook memories.
Jesus
it was
Christ.
like right around this time. It was like end of July, 10 years ago.
Well, I hate that. Purvis, run down the news.
a quick turn. Okay. For sure. I'll just jump into it because I think it's going to be a pretty straightforward episode.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about Lolla. That's why Jeff is here. Right. Remember last week when we said, Purvis wasn't going to Lolla?
That changed the point.
Yeah, we lied.
That was a straight lie. You thought I wasn't going to go?
I edited and posted the podcast, the next day. And by the time we were done, it was already not true.
Right. It's it was just a straight up lie. Shout out to my guy, Riley. He got me a ticket for very cheap, but I did go on Saturday, so we're gonna kind of break down Lolla this week.
Yeah.
And the insane. Yeah. I don't know how you guys did 4 days.
Yeah. Anyway. We're gonna talk about Lolla 2022 specifically, but I think also the conversation may taper off into just Lolla the institution.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But first we're gonna run through the news. Albums,
we'll start off. We have Eminem releasing Curtain Calls 2. I believe this is just a collection of hits. I wasn't entirely sure.
I can speak on that. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it's gonna be his first greatest hits. Curtain Call 1 was his greatest hits. Gonna be his greatest hits from everything that was post Curtain Call. So
it's gonna have Godzilla with Juice WRLD, and that's it.
Relapse,
pretty much.
It's a double album, 3 a.m.s on it.
Sheesh. I guess I should ask them because I don't know. When was the first Curtain Call?
Was it?
This was
early 2000s.
Yeah, it was 2006.
Yeah, something like that.
Sheesh. Okay.
No,
from
even early. Yeah. 05, 06.
Something like that.
04.
Yeah.
We got a little bit.
But Eminem was good.
I remember being in middle school getting it. That was my first. That and the Game documentary. Those were the first 2 rap albums I bought.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good start.
Really good start, yeah. Especially because that's the good half of Eminem's career.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how it goes. You never know. It might be okay.
It is kind of crazy to think about how old Jeff was when Eminem already released the greatest hits of what would actually end up being his greatest hits.
Right, literally.
Yeah.
I guess another one that's coming out, Calvin Harris is dropping Funk Rave Bounces 2. We kind of touched on this 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
I'm very excited.
This is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun album. I think the last few years, I don't know if it was the pandemic and then the rush to fill everything after, but it just feels like there aren't summer songs anymore.
Yeah.
And that's just what I want. And that's what Funk Wave 1 was.
I mean, I'm definitely here from it. There's a couple of bangers from that first one that's coming out. And then I don't want to say there's been a shift because it's only been a couple people that's been doing it, but I feel like house music is coming back. And I feel like this is going to have a decent amount on it. I could be wrong. but I feel like he kind of touches over that. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
I liked his last album.
Yeah,
I'll give it a listen.
the last Funk Wave was a lot of fun. That came out the year after I graduated college, and that was a party album. That was a fun one.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
this will be a nice little refresher to end off the summer.
All right.
We have NBA YoungBoy, the last Slamento.
Oh, the GOAT dropping?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like the greatest of all time, NBA YoungBoy,
The biggest lyricist of this generation.
Kendrick LaHoo.
But I don't know. I always give a shout out to the young people coming up. So
Yeah,
I'll eventually get into it.
yeah, I'll eventually get to it.
He's
I could see
dangerously
him being at
approaching.
Lollapalooza.
Eventually, yeah.
For sure. He's dangerously approaching that like freaking 15, 20 album on SoundCloud. I mean on Spotify. So
Oh my god.
it's becoming kind of too much, in my opinion. And then to end it off, we have Doechii coming out with the EP Hearse or She/Her/Black Bitch. So
Dude,
I'm excited
Doechii
to see where that
is super talented. This is probably of the four, this is gonna be the one I listen to first. Not just because she's so talented, but because it's an EP, and that means it's also gonna be the shortest.
yes, be an easy listen to.
Yeah, so I definitely bias towards short projects, but really excited to hear what she's doing coming out of PG Lang.
Hmm. Is this the first major release by PG Lang?
I
Not
think,
major.
no, this is because they were on both of Keem's. They were on Mr. Morale.
I guess I thought Mr. Morale was under TDE.
It's under both, I thought.
Interesting. I really don't know.
Yeah, because like
I'll
those
look it up.
imprints, you could have multiple on an album.
It was his last album on TDE.
It was his last.
Yeah, that's
on
what I was gonna
TDE.
say.
Yeah, but you could be on multiple imprints.
I see
Yep.
what you mean.
Yeah, that's
Like,
the thing. Like it could be on both.
Mhm.
What was Kid Cudi's
It was
album right after?
it was I know. Oh fuck! It's on
The one we
Indica.
saw him live. Yes, Indica.
Indica. Yeah,
That was on Good Music, and then Kid Cudi went on his own and put it on his
Yeah,
own
and it was
label also.
and it was supposed to be on both, and then there was the fallout, and it just went to his.
Yeah,
Because I
so if
remember
you
like
got
the
one
early ones. You got It's the other thing.
if you got one that says Good Music, that's a very rare find.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
actually pretty dope.
yeah. So
Cool.
excited to hear her. We'll definitely be checking out Calvin Harris too. That'll be a fun one.
Yes.
Eminem, I'm good.
I'll see what's on there just to see.
I'll see what's on there. Like, look, if there's a song that I like that's on there, it's not like I'm going to stop liking it. But like, safe to say, the guy's career is not what it used to be.
I don't know. Are we allowed to, as a fan, I'm just curious. Do you think, like, as fans, we should kind of edge people out of the game once they hit a certain point?
Yeah.
I feel like we already
Would you
do, but yeah, we should. Like,
Once you put out a greatest hits, I think that's when you just call it quits.
which is
Like
why,
he was-
Tap out.
Jeff,
Yeah.
I completely agree. Which is why I thought it was so weird that Kid Cudi put
That
one out.
Kid
this
Cudi
year.
just did it.
Because like
Exactly.
that's the thing. Cudi is still relevant. Like it's not often that someone is putting out good music and still puts out a greatest hits.
Exactly. It's so weird to me.
I feel like with Kid Cudi's though, it's him getting ready to step into a different phase in his career.
Maybe, but ultimately though, I think he's still putting out like really good music. I think he's put out really good music this year. I'm very excited for the project that's coming.
Yeah, that's coming up soon.
Yeah, and like he just has a really long career. I don't bemoan him putting out multiple greatest hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, he probably could have done it sooner.
You're not
Where would you
wrong,
draw
yeah.
the line? If it's sooner, where's the cutoff?
Oh, you know what? Like I'm fucking biting my own tongue as I say that because like I would probably put the cutoff at Man on the Moon 3, but that's like where we're at right now.
Yeah.
You know what
That's
I mean?
huge.
And yeah, you include all the stuff that was woven in through Man on the Moon 3.
Man, what a 3 album. Jesus Christ.
What a 3-album run. Kind of crazy how much stuff is in between those albums though.
A lot of good, a lot of bad.
Yeah, a lot of worthwhile stuff though. Really interesting career, that guy. We'll have to talk about it someday.
God, I'm dreading that the Kid Cudi episode. It's
You're
gonna be
dreading it.
like
I'm the one who edits the episodes. Like,
I'm just saying, it's gonna be like 5 hours. We're gonna have like 4 guests want to come on. And
Yeah.
so, like, I've had multiple people be like, "Let me know when you do Kid Cudi." I'm like, "Bruh, you and like other people."
yeah, we're gonna have like a council. It's gonna be like a school board meeting.
Literally.
Cover Kid Cudi.
That could be our like 100th episode.
Yeah, our 100th episode will be a round table about Kid Cudi. Like, maybe that's when we'll start doing video.
Who knows?
Uh,
But I guess going on to the singles, this caught me by surprise because I just didn't know this was coming out. But The Weeknd has a song featuring Summer Walker called "Best Friends." Do you know anything about this?
so Best
No.
Friends was a track off Dawn FM, so I assume it's a remix.
Oh, but
And it's one of the best songs off Dawn FM. It's so good.
Okay.
Yeah, I recommended it on the first episode.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of the best tracks on that album. So
Right. I know.
yeah, it's a remix. And Summer Walker, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. After that, we have DJ Khaled featuring Drake and Lil Baby called "Staying Alive."
I
mean,
saw the
it's gonna be a
promo where
hit.
he was discoed out. It's like,
Yeah, it's gonna be a hit.
if it was
it's gonna be a hit.
actually fucking like disco music, I would love that. But yeah, it's gonna be a hit.
Yeah,
There's no way it's
you're gonna hit it on radios for the next couple of months. It's gonna be on Rap Caviar for like the next year.
Yeah, that's gonna be forever.
Drake
Yeah.
and Lil Baby. After that, we have Trippie Redd featuring Offset and Moneybagg Yo. It's something called Big 14. I'm very excited for that.
That's
That was very high.
that's gonna blow out some speakers. That's gonna be a bang.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I've told you about this, but like his last album left me on an extreme high. I love Trippie Redd right now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't know. I've always liked this music, even though it's kind of like that sad boy music, kind of in a way.
It's very
But,
emo.
Yes, very emo. But even the more recent stuff is a lot of energy coming out of it, and I love that album.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm like very, I don't know, maybe a little bit on. I'm kind of neutral on Trippie Redd.
Really?
Maybe veering a little bit positive.
Do you recall anything negative at least? Because a lot of people in his kind of group has a lot of negative characteristics that
Just that, like, it's kind of whiny and one dimensional. That's kind of the thing. Is like I feel like Trippie Redd has like a really cool aesthetic and a really cool approach, but it's very one dimensional, and I feel like it gets played out.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
just
the
kind of
last
the vibe I
two,
have for that.
the last two I have are kind of some more younger people, so I'll just fly through them. I have Snot coming out with Immaculate, and then we have Little Tekka coming out with Faster. I haven't heard from Little Tekka in a very long time.
Who's Little
I didn't
Tekka?
know Little Tekka has a lot of like big TikTok songs. I'm trying to think of a song that you would immediately recognize. God, that's gonna kill me because I know you know who Little Tekka is. Jeff, do you know who Little Tekka is?
Name sounds familiar. Haven't really heard of their music.
I'm gonna have to see. But regardless, both of them are coming out with some tracks. There's some of the younger people in there, so I'm excited to see him back and see if he can actually stay somewhat relevant in his own lane.
All right. I mean,
Yeah,
if I hear
So
it, I mean, like if you're like, "Hey, man, listen to this song," I'll be like, "Yes."
fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll check it out for us.
All right. Purvis, talk to me about what you want to talk to me about. I know this is what you want to do.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of news, but we're gonna have to throw this in there. Astroworld and swimming just hit 4 years, which is insane to think about.
It is.
It's been
It
4
is
years.
insane to think
Wow,
that
that's crazy.
Astroworld's been out for 4 years. That is like,
It's a very long time.
yeah. And so
I
much has
literally was a
happened.
different person. Yeah, I was about to say I was literally a different person 4 years ago. But anyway, we've talked about this before, and you can even discuss it with swimming since it came out on the same day. Are either one of these albums, has it been long enough to call them a classic?
No.
Right. Okay.
My
So
rule of thumb has always been 5 years. At least. At least 5 years.
at least 5 years.
Yeah.
At least 5 years. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna circle back next year.
Yeah.
And we're gonna figure
Put it
out
on the fucking
if
calendar.
Astroworld is a classic.
Yeah. No, like,
Because we had a very long discussion on if this is classic worthy.
and the other thing is that I don't even know if time is necessarily the issue for Astroworld.
Okay.
I just need to see its context, like within Travis's career. I think just because the dude does only have 3 albums.
I push back on that, but technically, I guess he does only have 3 albums.
Yeah, I mean, I know his footprint has been all over the genre for the last 5 years, but in the actuality, I don't think we've been able to see a great arc of his as an artist yet. Yeah, I think it's definitely possible, and we'll see with Utopia. If it was ever going to happen, it's going to be soon.
Yep. I was going to say that should be really soon.
And once again, even if, is it more of a classic than Rodeo?
No. It's the easy answer. No.
Yeah.
I think Rodeo's more of a classic.
Yeah. And are those 2 albums, different enough that they can both be classics?
I'd say so.
I think
First.
that's where we disagree, but that's okay. Jeff, do you have an opinion on Travis Scott?
I mean, I think Astroworld's going to end up being a classic.
Thank you.
Notice how he said "end up" though.
I think that's going to be more around the 10-year mark where people are going to start calling it a classic, mainly because of what happened at
the event,
Astroworld Music Festival.
Yeah.
I think that's the event. I think that still leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. And until people are finally over that, then I think people will look at that album more at just because of the name. If it wasn't named Astroworld, I think it would be. I think it'd be sooner if it was named something different other than Astroworld. If that makes sense.
I actually totally agree with you, Jeff. As a matter of fact, that's very similar to a point I brought up when we talked about this earlier, because I feel like in order to contextualize Astroworld, we have to see what comes after it because of its connection to the event.
Exactly, and when you Google Astroworld, that's going to be the first thing that pops up is the event.
Yeah,
not the album.
Yeah, so I actually did not think of it specifically at that angle, but that is absolutely correct. That just public consciousness for Astroworld will probably always sway towards the tragedy, which sucks, which is not fair to all the artists that helped make Astroworld the great piece of work it is, because it is a great piece of work. I'm not sitting here saying it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I just feel like a classic is a very high bar.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely agree with that, Jeff. I think we definitely need just more time, especially because of this album's connection with the tragedy. But Purvis has been trying to say that it's old enough for for classic status. It's before the tragedy, though. To be fair,
not even.
To be fair,
not even. Remember when I first brought this up, I was I just feel like every single hip hop channel I see on social media at some point has been "Hey, is Astroworld a classic?" And so I was
Purvis has been telling me Astroworld is a classic since November 2018.
As soon as I heard the second track and I heard Frank Ocean classic, I titled it.
Yeah,
I titled it a classic. No, it's funny that you said that. I literally took time. I just Googled Astroworld, and the Wikipedia page for the festival crowd crush comes up before the album. That's insane to actually think about.
Now,
working in media, man, when you go to these things and you see these events, it just I start thinking that way. Like that's the first thing you're gonna see.
Yeah. But the other thing is that those trends can change over time.
Exactly. That's why I think around the 10-year mark, that's when I think you'll see more people calling it a classic.
Mhm.
I definitely agree. Now I do want to pivot though, because like let's talk about swimming for example, because I feel like we'd be remiss to not talk about that album.
I mean, is something a classic?
I think it's a lot closer to a classic than Astroworld, if I'm being honest with you.
As you said that, yes.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I
Swimming definitely qualifies first.
there's certainly an argument that, but remember when I said like, oh, is it different enough to justify having multiple classics? Like I think about Mac Miller's like probably my favorite album of his, Watching Movie with the Sound Off.
That's
And
a classic.
yeah, I would say that's a classic for sure. And I would say Swimming is absolutely different enough that it can also be a classic. Because like they sound like different genres. Like it almost really does feel like Mac was transitioning into more of a singer-songwriter part of his career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I would I feel like talk to me in a year about Swimming, and we'll talk about its classic status in 5 years.
Okay,
But
that's completely fair.
I think
I completely understand.
I definitely think Swimming might be one of those like, especially considering what has happened in the last 5 years. Like, I think Swimming is one that I really want to revisit next year and have this conversation.
Okay. And I completely agree with everything you said. I think it is more, or it qualifies more to be a classic, specifically when you look into the context. Because, like you said, you got to see what comes after swimming and things like that, but where it fits within the timeline and the story behind who Mac Miller is and how he died and stuff like that. I think just it's a staple to his personality.
Yeah,
So I feel like it's undoubtedly going to be a classic.
I wish I could find this article, but I remember reading something about like what was some of the most streamed music during the pandemic,
Hmm.
and like the number one song was Self Care off this album. So like
God.
part of me also wonders like is that event and like the fact that this was an album a lot of people specifically turned to like during that event, like is that even going to contextualize it even further,
Hmm.
you know? But I think that's the far more interesting conversation, if I'm being honest.
Hmm.
All right, let's move on to our next piece of news, which is gonna be a hot one.
Yeah. So it's funny because I haven't even heard the song. So if it's already been removed um on Spotify, I didn't know and I haven't heard it. But apparently, Beyonce has removed the word spaz in some of her songs due to backlash and how it like kind of it goes against certain communities where that could be used as like a demeaning term or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
this one's this one's interesting.
no,
This one's hard to unpack.
right. I don't know what kind of direction or angle I wanted to go at in terms of this. I just I found it interesting that like how should I say this?
Go ahead, because I have a lot to say about this too.
You go first because I want to find my words for it.
Well, it's just as someone who lived through all of adolescence with like an undiagnosed learning disability and a pretty severe one at that,
Hmm.
like I have like some pretty dark memories like associated with that word.
Okay.
And I think like people have to realize like that something that does come across as very innocuous, because I get it, it comes across as a very silly innocuous thing, but like to certain people, specifically certain people who have ailments you can't see, like it has been a weapon and we should be honest about that. However, I think we should also be honest about the fact that, like, specifically in like African American vernacular, that word has like a very different root. It doesn't mean like the way it was used against me. It like literally has two different etymological origins. So when someone like Beyonce uses that word, like it means a different thing, like coming out of that community. And I think a lot of like white people have to be honest about that, because like something similar happened with Lizzo,
Okay.
and like she had to take the same exact word out, and it's like yeah, I wish people wouldn't belittle it, because like that word can be like really shitty to use as another human being. But at the same time, like I think we need to be honest that that word has a completely different origin in that context.
That's one of the angles I was actually going to take. I was going to say, just like, how much pressure should be applied onto art if it's trying to express something?
Yeah,
Because obviously it's meant to have an entirely different meaning, like you said. So I just feel like sometimes as listeners or a community or wherever it might be, sometimes it might be too harsh on the artist.
I think that's
Specifically
totally
if the
fair.
intentions were well, like it wasn't meant to be negative intentions, and like it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's interesting to see that response. And another thing I want to say specifically for like someone like Beyonce, of all people, to have fairly a positive image and known respectfully within the world, like at what point can you say, okay, it's Beyonce, it's art, like you know what the meaning was, let's move past it.
Yeah. And I think another thing, and look, this could have been because this happened while I was at Lollapalooza and I was relatively unplugged. Uh,
Yeah.
but like I don't remember seeing any backlash like at all. And I remember seeing a lot of stuff about Beyonce's album.
Mhm.
Uh so it seems kind of preemptive more than anything else. And you know, it I'm, like, I'm not going to be dishonest and say it doesn't sit well. It does seem weird that like something that has a completely different origin and is pretty benign,
Right.
is so heavily scrutinized. But on the other end, like, I do acknowledge that maybe it's okay to be more careful with your language, and maybe like even in this context where like yes, it's harmless, it's not necessarily equivalent to something like anti diaries.
That's literally what I was about to say.
I don't think it's equivalent to that, because I think Kendrick is making a point with his use of that word, which I still think is a discussion to be had. I think the argument that even that is not acceptable is a strong one. It's
Mhm.
not what I personally believe, but I'm not a member of that community, so what does that tell you? Uh,
Right.
so yeah, like this was probably just something used the way it's usually used among like the community, meaning like to go off to like
If
you
anything,
know
in a positive sense, like
it's not even like yeah, it doesn't even mean the same thing as like it's not
right.
used the same way. It's a verb that someone does as opposed to a adjective, the way like some bully would use that on a school ground.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Very
That's what I
true.
mean when I say it's like different origins. Like it has like a completely different meaning that doesn't share roots with that, which is why I can see why people react poorly to this. And I'm thinking about when Joey Badass, like when Lizzo did it, Joey Badass was like, I would never fucking do that. Like
Saying he wouldn't do what,
he
like
would
change the
never change he would never take a word like spaz off
right,
to uh
please to a certain community.
to he specifically said to appease white people.
There you go. That's what I said.
Like
To please certain community.
yeah. And yeah, like I I identify with that. I get that.
I don't think she should have changed. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah. No,
It is what
I yeah, I don't think she should have changed it. I don't see why she had to. But on the other end, like part of me always wonders like, what do I know about what actually happened? Like, I remember, this is a bit of a tangent, but bear with me. I remember, do you know the show It's Always Sunny?
Yeah.
So they have a few episodes where, like, the premise of the episode is that they're making bootleg sequels to the Lethal Weapon movies. And
Okay.
in those episodes, Mac, the character who does Mac, is wearing blackface, right? And when there was, in 2020, when there was that, what's the word, reckoning with racial issues in this country, the creators said that they don't want that out. They don't want that representing It's Always Sunny. And I wonder if it's something like that, where it's like, no, if it's going to be misconstrued this way, then I don't want that representing the album a certain way. In which case, it's like, I don't want to limit the creativity of the creator either, if that's the way it happened to parse out. You know what I mean?
In terms of all of that, like that's pretty much what I want to cover on like the Beyonce part of it, because I sometimes think the community overreacts.
No, I definitely think that this is kind of like, my only thing is that I didn't see any I didn't see anyone who was upset by it.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I don't think I saw anyone who was upset by her changing it either. To be honest, I just saw that she changed it, which probably
might just be one of those small things that gets looked over.
Yeah. Did you listen to any of the album?
I have not.
Ooh, I listened to a handful of songs, and you know what? It's real good.
Okay.
It's real good. I just gotta say.
Like album of the year good? Or
I don't like, it's been a stacked year. Like,
it has been a stacked year.
Yes, but maybe not this year. Like,
wow. Okay. I mean that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's gonna be my reaction. For me personally, maybe not this year. But there definitely be some other years. Like if this came out last year, 100%. Like,
okay, bet. I'm now excited to listen to it.
Yeah.
You know what is going to be album of the year, Brandon?
Oh my God, Chief Keef?
No, sir. When Chance the Rapper decides to drop his album this year,
God,
I'm calling it now.
Redemption arc. We're going back to the redemption arc.
Back to the first episode, but just bring that up. It seems like the date is coming up sooner. The last piece of news that we have is that he went on Jimmy Fallon over this week.
Did you watch it?
Live performance. I have not. I'm going to though.
Yeah, I did not, because I don't watch Jimmy Fallon. I always found him kind of annoying.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna watch the concert.
Yeah, the concert.
Right. But I believe he did the highs and the lows, and I'm pretty sure Joey Badass was there.
Oh, really?
So I'm pretty sure. I have to double check.
I like that song a lot.
Before it came out, yeah. I think he said he was on it.
Jeff, have you been listening to these latest strings of chant singles?
Kind of, not really.
So, everyone knows that The Big Day was just not good. But man, these latest singles have been really something. So me and Purvis are really, really buying into a redemption arc for Chance the Rapper.
Full redemption arc.
I'm a little still upset that we missed him at Sunday.
We'll get to that.
Oh boy.
He showed up twice, but honestly, fuck him for going to Kygo.
Wait, he showed up twice?
Yeah, he showed up Sunday too, with Vic Mensa.
Yeah, to perform with Peter Cottontail.
Bruh.
They performed Hey Ma.
Yeah.
Oh my
Sunday.
God.
And we were gonna go to that show, but we didn't.
That's pain. I'm very upset.
Yeah.
And it was on a small stage.
Yeah.
Chance, what are you doing, bro?
No, that one's good. That one's on us, not on Chance. That's actually cool that he came out with him. Like,
okay, but he came out with Kygo.
That's lame. That's very lame.
Right, that didn't make sense. When you could have came out with J. Cole, you came out with Kygo. Come on.
Does he have a song with Kygo?
Yeah.
I have no idea. He does?
Yeah.
So it's not like J. Cole needed help. He had.
He was very much stacked.
He had a small army of
him alone is insane, and then he brought the Dreamville with him. So
Yeah.
Should we just go ahead and
Yeah,
start
let's
getting
just get into it. Let's get into it. So
should we break it down by how you want to do this?
we should go day by day, but I think we're mostly going to focus on the hip hop artists we saw. So Thursday was probably, in terms of just like overall quality, the best day of the concert for me. Because
best show I saw all 3 out of the 4 days I was there.
Yeah, I was there 4 days and nothing touched Metallica.
I would agree.
Yeah, it was life-changing. It was the greatest concert I've ever seen in my life. But I really want to give a shout out to Billy Strings.
He killed it.
Dude, he absolutely killed it. It's I showed you, I told you about this guy, Purvis. He's the guy, he's a bluegrass artist out of Kentucky. He was up there fucking playing and singing up a storm.
Brought the hippies out.
Excellent lyrics and storytelling.
Was this the white?
The White Weekend.
The White Weekend that you were talking about? Okay, the White Weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm following now.
Yeah. No, he was fun. And as after seeing him, I've been listening to his music pretty much all week, and like it's really, really good, like on its own right.
Okay.
So, huge shout out to Billy Strings. And
was that the first time you've heard of them?
It's the first time I heard of him. We only went to see him because to get better seats for Metallica.
I got you. Okay.
Metallica, 2 hours, life-changing show.
So good.
So good. Some of the best. Metallica has a lot of songs like Master of Puppets and Creeping Death where like there's like an element of chanting in the back of it. And like just being a part of the song in that way is like the craziest thing ever.
Yeah. And when we get to Sunday, I'll talk about how Green Day was, because it was kind of like that. But
yeah. But I would say all in all, didn't see anything hip hop related. You'll know that because like if you follow the Instagram, we didn't really post much because I was just in line for Metallica.
Yeah.
So
and really, for hip hop, it was really just Saturday was really stacked with hip hop.
Yeah.
And then Friday had a little bit, and Sunday had a little bit.
Yeah. Thursday had Little Baby, who like, if like Jeff had given me these passes, which by the way, thank you for the hookup, Jeff.
Yeah. And then we also got hooked up at the Tito's Lounge.
Oh my god, don't want to talk
Thank
about
you, Tito's.
I have a scar on my
leg.
Thank
you, Tito's.
Thank you, Tito's.
You think we can get a Tito's sponsor?
Dude, we should try. We'll send this to them. Thanks, Tito's. You're not responsible for the injury I got on a divvy bike on the way home because... And the only evidence I have of that is the scar on my leg and the charge to divvy. But yeah, so Friday had a little bit. I would have seen Little Baby if they weren't against
Metallica,
the artist I wanted to see more than anyone else in the world. Yeah,
completely understandable. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about like a Little Baby performance. I didn't hear anything major, so it must not have been that insane. I just don't feel like he's much of a performer. I should say
he just got booked poorly.
Yeah.
That is true.
On top of that, he's going to be back with Chris Brown on his tour.
Isn't that literally like tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. I just know what's happening.
I have no idea.
That's also a weird collab.
Yeah, it's a very weird collab. I mean, I like Little Baby. I think he's good, but like, seems odd.
I think, I was going to say he's grown significantly, but that does not mean.
Oh, yeah, he went from
that hot.
Oh yeah, he went from like the most generic Young Thug clone to like a legitimate voice on his own, which is impressive.
He has a stance within the community.
Yeah.
So that alone is great.
Yeah.
But
that's
like you said, Thursday wasn't much. The only other person I wanted to see was Pierre Bourne, just because like I already put him as the producer in that episode. I've listened to all his music. I love his music. I think he makes fantastic beats. That alone would be enough for me to go see him.
Yeah. All right. So getting to Friday. Friday, I was there all on my lonesome. And I saw 3 acts. I saw Corday, Don Toliver, and Sofago.
I'm upset I wasn't able to see Corday because I like him a lot.
Yeah, of those 3 sets, Corday was the best one.
Okay.
He just had, I mean, I have a lot. We'll get to Don Toliver. Don Toliver is probably one of the sets I have the most to say about.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Corday brought incredible energy. I'm pretty familiar with his stuff, but not super familiar. I definitely have listened to a few of his albums.
I'm surprised Chance didn't come out with him.
Do they have
that would be a good person.
That would be a good one. Like that would have been an excellent artist for him to align himself with.
Yep, with the right crowd that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
But,
no, definitely. And
I mean, that's really good to hear, to be honest.
No, he put out excellent energy. Definitely someone I could see climbing the hierarchy at Lolla and getting to a higher seat.
Okay.
Yeah. And then from there, I saw Don Toliver. Now,
So
here's the thing, man. He had a lot of audio issues. A lot. And it genuinely kind of, that and the crowd he brought in was kind of fucky. You know, there was a lot.
Say it.
No, it was just, that's the way I'm going to describe it. Fucky. It was, fratty white boys. But I'll say this: the dude performed like a fucking champion. He did not let those audio issues get in the way of it. He was out there fucking doing what he had to do. It's just the end product, due to things outside of his control, like, did end up suffering.
Okay. But he made the most of the moment.
No, he absolutely did. Like, he is absolutely sight unseen an artist I would see again. As a matter of fact, I would say because of the technical issues he has, he's an artist I actively want to see a second time.
Right. That's
so,
completely understandable.
I mean, I guess that's the biggest compliment I can pay him. Is that I absolutely would like to see him in another time to just see how he could do when he doesn't have these constraints. And on top of that, you could tell that he was not used to...
What do you mean?
He was getting winded.
Oh, okay.
Things like that. Like, not anything that's like a work ethic or like, like
he just got himself typed up way too early.
Yeah, he's like,
right.
Yeah, he's a relatively
he crashed out.
Yeah. And look, he came out with a chain. Someone had to take it off of him, like, so he could keep performing. But, like, look, I see that as someone, making decisions in the heat of the moment in order to keep the show going, which is what something we're supposed to applaud. Mm-hmm. Like, and look, he came out with a ton of energy. He was totally able to control a very large crowd. He brought in a huge crowd. Probably the second biggest for a non-headliner I saw. And yeah, like that's just my main thing, is that like he had so many technical issues that like his voice kept cutting out, during company, like you could barely hear him, but he just kept going. Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but it's not his fault. He did all the right things. It's just the way
Right, it just kind of happens sometimes.
And like,
I mean, I'm very excited.
I mean, I would totally be hyped to go see him again. Like,
exactly.
This should be nothing but like, he has all the makings to give you a great show in October when you see him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because that's what I was most curious about. Because I know in the United Center, it's going to be like flawless, basically. When we went to go see J. Cole, there was no errors. So being able to see Kid Cudi and Don Toliver with a good production crew that could be there for him and like support him live, I am extremely excited to hear all of his songs go crazy. I don't know if he's like because we kind of talked about it last week. We did a whole episode on him and his album. Like I feel like he's gonna bring that energy that Travis has, but like in
He
a
definitely
different
does.
way.
He definitely
Right.
does. It's not as it's a little bit more engaging because it's not as like down your throat hype. Like he has slower songs. When I saw him, he came out to After Party, which is like his big,
Insane opener.
yeah, which is insane opener. Okay, that's a strategy. But then again, like he closed with Moon, and that was cool. So
Right.
But yeah, no, he was able to take it in like definitely different moods. I definitely think, if not a better artist than Travis, because I don't think he is, he's certainly a more dynamic one because he has a lot of different modes he can work on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I saw another Travis clone, Sofago.
That's smaller.
Yeah, and I'll be
How do you
honest.
feel?
I'll be honest. Like Sofago, I only stuck around for like maybe 4 or 5 tracks. Maybe 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it was a smaller crowd at a much smaller stage, and he just went for it. He brought the energy, and you could tell the crowd was vibing with him. To me, like I still think Sofago just sounds like a slightly more interesting Travis clone. Like I don't think he has a style his own like Don Toliver yet, but I definitely think he has potential. But it was one of the ones that more watched over me than any of the other ones this weekend. It was good. It just wasn't really for me. I definitely hung
Right.
back because I didn't want to be in the mosh pit, like, because people were going crazy.
It's more just like an experience. Just kind of
Yeah.
fill it out and go from there.
Yeah, it was just something like I wanted to check him out. We had talked about him on the show. And I don't know if his music is exactly for me, but for the people who enjoy it, I think they got a lot out of that performance.
For sure.
All right.
All right.
Let's get to Saturday. Saturday was the day we were all there.
This was a big day.
All right. So, Purvis, this was your first day ever at Lollapalooza, correct?
Yes. This was my only day. I'm not gonna lie. It was exhausting.
Yeah.
That was definitely I forgot how much energy goes into like these kind of festivals and like how much is going on. Seeing all the people is so dope and like I don't know. It's a really good vibe. It's a good energy that brings to the city. You don't get it too often. It was very refreshing, but yeah, it was very tiring. Um, I do wish that Cochise came on later. That was the only person I didn't get to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I really wish Cochise was not the first act of the day.
yeah, it's ridiculously unfair, but it is what it is. It's how it goes. But I did get to see Duckworth. That was the the first concert show that I went to. Man, amazing. He brought such a great energy to him. He's very unique style. I feel like some of his music falls under this podcast, but he just has such an
Yeah.
amazing performance. He was dancing on stage. He brought a great crowd. It was actually the Discord stage, so like you got a big group in the middle that's really vibing with him, and plenty people on the outsides under the shades and the trees. So it was a really good vibe to go to, and like definitely someone that I would recommend.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to see Duckworth, but we ended up at Little Dirk and also finding the VIP,
Right.
which took some time.
So what happened with Little Dirk? Because you text me, and I'm like, what is going on?
So,
Yeah, as soon as we got there, they paused the show and had
yeah,
everyone take 3 steps back because everyone was so close and they had pyro that was going off.
yeah.
And sure enough, whoever set up the pyro set it up too close to the stage, and Lil Durk ended up getting shot in the eye.
That was a unruly set. That was like we walked in like while it was going on,
And it was a rowdy crowd.
It was a rowdy crowd. Like Jeff is normally a kind of guy who likes to get up close, and we were like, this is probably not the best one.
Ew.
No, and like, look, I like Lil Durk. I think of all the Chicago drill rappers who aren't Chief Keef, I think he's probably my favorite. I like him more than G Herbo.
Polo G, G Herbo,
Polo G.
stuff like that.
Yeah, artists I famously know, Polo G.
All right, bro. That's funny.
And it was cool to see Lil Durk because like I wanted to, but the crowd was super rowdy, and then when I heard that he got shot in the eye with a firework,
Like, yeah, no.
Jesus.
Yeah, and he's from Chicago, so yeah, I mean, you gotta do your due diligence.
Be all right.
At least check him out.
Yeah, he's from Chicago.
Yeah.
He was on the Perry stage, so clearly, clearly that means he's going to be someone who's going to be at later Lollapaloozas.
Exactly,
Oh, yeah,
and
for sure.
and then like him coming out on his Instagram saying that he's going to take time away and kind of reflect on things.
Yeah,
was pretty
Yeah.
cool to see because at least he's not going to jump right back in after he feels up.
No, yeah, it's definitely the right time to do that. And like he appeared to be giving a good show, but we were pretty far back. It was a massive crowd. I saw
That's good.
I saw Denzel Curry on the same stage the next day, nowhere near that size.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually a little surprising.
Denzel Curry was going against some huge names.
Oh, okay. That's probably why. I was
Yeah.
going to say, I just feel like I would definitely see Denzel Curry having a larger fan base, but I could be biased.
I don't know if I even agree with that, but even just the fact that you had Green Day and the guy from BTS at the same time. That's
J-Hope and Green Day going against Denzel.
Yeah.
That's just unfair.
That's tough.
That's unfair.
That's tough.
I mean, I was shocked that the crowd was as big as it was, to be honest. Like, it was probably, like, do you know those, like, it was past the farthest light post on that stage, which is like half of Little Durk.
It was probably all big hip hop heads.
It was the
all
same
big hip hop heads and just everyone that's like a true fan.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, and this is the reason why this is my main takeaway from, not the main takeaway, but this is like a big mark against the Denzel Curry show, is it was the same audience as Don Toliver. Very rowdy, very in everyone's faces. Dudes trying to fight. Like, not a... Denzel definitely gave like one of my favorite performances of the weekend. But the show overall, with that included, not great. Also, not the best audio, but we'll get to that.
Yep, back to Saturday.
Yeah, back to Saturday.
Yeah.
So then we saw Big Sean.
Calling that up for Sean.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
That Big Sean show. That was a surprise.
Okay, here's the thing. I was not surprised that, like, it was good. Because, like, I was saying for the longest time, I was telling Patrick, who was there with us.
Yeah, shout out Patrick Keane if you're listening to this.
Yeah. I told him, I was like, bro, we need to see Big Sean. Like, we actually need to, because I know it's going to be really good. I've heard many good things about his shows. He has so many hits, but you don't really remember. I did not expect it was going to be all hits. Like, every single song was a hit.
Every hit. It was every hit.
And it carried.
It carried. The energy of that show was incredible. Like,
absolutely insane.
To be honest,
all
like,
the songs are great. The effects on the cameras are great. Brings out Janae
Aiko. And it's not like a small bit. It was
Mama.
Yeah, it's Baby Mama.
Yeah.
Oh, also, between Big Sean, we also saw YG.
Oh, yeah.
But Big Sean blew it out. Like,
YG was so unimportant in my opinion. It was just a whole bunch of like
the fucked out
random
Trump
people.
Was fun,
like,
but that
was fun. But I don't know any YG fans. I don't feel like people are there just to see YG.
And yeah, like Big Sean was definitely the bigger and better show. It was incredible. And shout out to Janae Aiko coming out and performing as much as she did while pregnant.
Yeah.
You know, that cannot be
did great.
Easy. Yeah, no, overall that show was incredible.
Yeah.
I
think that was the first big guest that I saw that day, and I was like, man, what a feeling.
Yeah.
That's so dope.
Now, I know me and Jeff went to Tito's and had some drinks before J. Cole. Did you see anyone after Big Sean?
No, after Big Sean, I kind of wrapped everything up. We was going back to get everything together and just get ready for the last show of Big Sean Big Sean, Jesus Christ, with J. Cole. So I didn't go see anyone in the meantime.
Yeah. So let's dive into the headliner for Saturday, J. Cole. Very popular topic on this podcast.
To no one's surprise, one of my top 5 artists we're talking about again.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it, but I honestly think he did better than the United States when we went to go see it.
I was telling Jeff that this was a superior show to the United Center.
It's insane.
Yeah,
there's something different.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting how he did bring back some of the things, like the song battle he does with Boz.
Yeah, but it made it even better.
It's still fun though. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, it's fun no matter what. Because when we saw the United Center, I was like, oh my god, this is so dope. But I don't know what, but like being outside in that festival setting, you're looking at the skyline. This is your home city. You see everything, and like you literally hear it sounds like they're a block away. People just screaming the lyrics, doing the call and response. Yeah. It's just like, man,
oh my god,
so dope. That is so dope.
The feeling of like being in Grant Park, looking at Chicago, while what would you say, like 15,000, 30,000 strangers
just
yell out the lyrics to No Role Models? Like,
it's just so good. It's so
wow. Good. It was amazing.
Yeah, and he brought out a ton of guests.
Yep. Boz,
Jid.
Just went crazy.
Now, question for you guys, right? Because we saw a bunch of artists do like songs that feature other people, or even other people's songs that they have featured on. Big Sean did a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
And J. Cole specifically called out 21 Savage when he did that one song a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think 21 Savage was supposed to be there?
I do. If I'm being honest, I think 21.
I kind of do. I'm leaning with you, Jeff. I kind of think he was supposed to be there.
I wouldn't have been surprised at all.
Yeah,
he probably ended up having travel issues because he's been deported.
Yeah,
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but
I mean, he even said it during the performance. J. Cole was trying to tell the people running the transcript or whatever it's called, when you can like look down into the lyrics. They told him, or he told them, to play 21 Savage part. I need the lyrics, and I wanted to do his part, and then they couldn't get it up in time, so he was just like, forget it, and then he did his part. So I honestly feel like it was meant to be the entire song, and he even tried to do 21 Savage's part in his absence. So I do believe, I agree. I think 21 was supposed to be there.
Yeah. And I definitely, yeah. So, Purvis, how would you compare this to the set we saw at United Center?
Not to say the United Center experience wasn't good. Actually, I do like the experience of being in United Center. I'm excited to go back for that concert with Kid Cudi and Don Toliver. But I like the experience because it doesn't matter where your actual seating is. You can see the stage. You can see the artists. Sometimes I feel like in this large festival setting, you can't really see people once you get too far out.
Yeah.
So I do like the experience in United Center. I like the location. But it's just something so much different about being outside.
Yeah.
I feel like the setting alone made all the songs hit harder, made the crowd feel more connected.
Yeah.
So it's not to say United Center was bad, but this just is a whole different world. It's a whole different ball field I feel like you're playing with. Because a lot of emotions go into it. Exactly.
It's almost like a completely different scale. Like, it definitely feels bigger, right?
It honestly is.
Yeah.
It was at some point, I'm pretty sure I turned to it and I was like, bro, I'm crying. Like,
yeah.
I was singing so hard, I started crying, and I'm like, this is insane.
I think it's the amount of people. I think it gets
100,000 people. You get about 100,000 people each day, so about 400,000 people throughout the 4 days. And next year they just upped it to 115,000 people each day.
Jesus Christ,
that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it is insane. But then again, like, that's the experience, and it's kind of interesting when you think about the fact that, you know, gathering in large groups for music is something we've been doing since like before we left Africa, like as a
Right,
species.
about to say freaking
Yeah,
forever.
it's forever, right? So it's some weird ways, like maybe not with like J. Cole, but like certainly like when we saw Childish on the exact same stage, right? During some of the more
Yeah, that
contemplative,
was.
yeah, during some of the more contemplative songs, it borderline feels like a religious experience.
It really does. It depends on the artist because like the artist can turn it into that experience.
Yeah, and but I guess the question I have is, do you think that that scale performing at that, in that kind of format, do you think that helps artists, or do you think that's like a hindrance? Because
I think it helps. I think it
I
helps artists.
I agree. I think like it makes good into great, and it turns great into once in a lifetime.
Yeah, because I think of it as like, look what Freddie Mercury did for
Yeah,
Live Aid. And I think everyone looks back at that moment, looks at that crowd, and looks at the performance he put on. And I think every performer that steps on a stage of a festival scale, like a Lollapalooza, where you're in front of 100,000 people, they want to get that moment, even though it's not what it was at Live Aid, but they want to feel that moment.
yeah.
I feel.
Mhm.
No, I think that's really really insightful. Man, I can't believe he brought out Jid and they did Stick. That went so hard.
My voice was completely gone once I hit that point.
he he
Just
also
did
did
nothing.
way more older songs than he did when we saw him at UC.
Yes, he did. He did a lot of throwback songs.
But you know what he didn't do?
He still did not do Neighbors.
We've seen him twice
Yes.
now. Jermaine, if you're ever on the podcast, you'll have to answer for this. Like, I'm just I know you're listening. It's gonna happen. Like,
it's
Very-
just it's very interesting that you say it, because like Neighbors legitimately is one of his best songs ever.
yeah, it
There's
is.
so many things that go into it. Is it just not a good like concert song? I didn't consider that. I didn't think like, oh, maybe it's just like it wouldn't do well at concerts.
I don't.
And he tried it, but like I don't know what
It has the huge sing-along chorus. I would think it's a great concert song, especially if you do Forbidden Fruit and then
right.
Yeah, I
it's
feel
perfect.
like that's like a premiere concert moment.
Maybe what I would say, like you said, he was a lot less focused on like a tour. Like when we saw him before, it's literally a tour. So you're there to listen
To that one
to that album.
and then like
Right.
the hits of hits.
Exactly. This one, I don't feel like it was a part of a tour.
Yeah, it's about creating the best experience possible, and like I think we got more of the more recent stuff than anything else, but man, I would have loved Kevin's Heart.
That I was hoping for that. That was
Yeah.
one I was really hoping for.
Yeah, and
I just sorry, go ahead.
I just think after these two shows in a row, I think I'm gonna try and never miss a J. Cole show. Right.
Dude, that's the biggest thing I've walked away from Lolla. What I will give Lolla, even though I spent plenty of time beforehand absolutely down talking this experience. I was gonna say like I would never pay this money for this terrible lineup. Like I just don't think that is worth it. I think they should restructure it. We had a whole episode about it. I will say, walking away from it, I have a very different view. I literally told my friend, I was like, I will try not to ever miss Lolla again. Because like if my top 15 artists is performing, it's that enough. That alone is enough.
Yeah,
for me to go see them.
that is where I am now. The only thing is that like the worst aspect of Lolla is probably the worst part of any music festival in the city, and that's the demographic.
That is true.
It's the people. It's the people who go to Lolla. It sucks. I'm sorry. Like the reputation Lolla has for being filled with drunk white suburban teenagers is earned.
It's actually true.
Yeah, but I think it's a great experience, and I'm definitely gonna be prioritizing going at least one day every year. Because you're right.
Exactly.
You're totally right. If there's any artist that I haven't seen in that setting, I'm gonna get a show that I just am going to love from them, because like I think consistently the festival experience is like, as we said, like it's a multiplier. It makes the best experiences even better. You know.
Mhm.
Do we want to move on to Sunday and then we can talk about some general thoughts?
For sure.
Okay, so
Definitely.
yeah, so me and Jeff were there Sunday, and I'm not
We
gonna
saw
lie, I was pretty
Charlie
drunk by the
XCX.
end of it. Oh, Charlie XCX killed it.
Yeah, she was really good.
She's really good. She's like goes out there and fucking
She
sings.
really performed.
She sings and dances all at once. But I gotta say this, and I feel like this is the only area on the internet where it's safe for me to say this.
Oh
And
boy.
no. It's just, look, Charlie XCX did great. Um, an artist I probably will end up seeing again, just because I know my girlfriend's a big fan and she would love to see her live. And it's an artist I could take her to see without gritting my teeth, unlike her other favorite artist, Mumford and Sons. And but the last time I was at Lolla, I also saw a pop star, and Janelle Monáe, and it's just like, Janelle Monáe did all that plus outfit
She
changes,
put out.
plus insane choreography. Don't get me wrong, it was great, but it just kind of highlighted the once in a lifetime aspect of that Janelle Monáe set I saw. That's my main takeaway.
Right.
Yes.
Like, it really added that level of like, holy shit, what I really, really saw is that level of good. But really enjoyed her. Happy I saw her. And
But
then we went over to Porno for Pyros, which is Perry Farrell.
that's his other rock band or punk band.
Yeah, it's like a punk
Not
band.
Jane's Addiction.
Yeah, that's not Jane's Addiction. Perry Farrell being the founder of Lollapalooza.
Yes.
Yeah, and we saw
And
it.
they put on a pretty decent.
I saw about the first half of it, and yeah, I thought it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, and then they had Billy Corgan come out to do a cover of Led Zeppelin, "When the Levee Breaks," which was phenomenal. And it was the drummer also from Smashing Pumpkins that came out with him, since they're really the only two that talk that are members. And that was a big surprise. Like, no one expected that, and that he put on a great show.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I got the picture that when we posted it to our story, Perry Farrell actually reshared our podcast.
Huge.
Huge shout
So
out.
dope.
Insane.
That's so dope.
Like, if there's any,
That is love.
yeah. I mean, my favorite hip hop journalist was at the same VIP as me and Jeff. I never at the same time, but I saw it on his Instagram that he was there. And I was like, Perry Farrell resharing it is as good. Like, that was the coolest shit ever. And then
you went over to see the Kid Leroy.
Yeah, Kid Leroy, who, I have no idea who this person is. They are, and
we play a bunch of him over at Star.
Yeah, I can see why. I can totally see why he's popular.
Yeah, him and Juice WRLD were really close.
And you can tell.
Didn't he
tell.
do?
He did a cover of.
Okay.
He did a cover of, I think, Lucid Dreams, and it was pretty good. It was a pretty good cover. Like, I gotta say. My only thing is that, like, I thought a lot of his music was just kind of, Juice WRLD, but not as good.
Juice WRLD were more poppy.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would describe it, right? So I think he did a very good, really cool, like, job honoring Juice WRLD, but the rest of his set, like, it's just not my cup of tea, And then Jeff, you want to talk about Green Day, and then we can close out with Denzel?
Yeah, and Green Day, they put on another performance just like Metallica. They brought a girl out to sing a song with them. They brought a girl that to play the guitar with them. She got to keep the guitar. And what's even more crazy, like, she found the photos and video I took of her up there and reached out for all that. So I sent that over to her, which was pretty cool. And I mean, they played all the hits. So
Was
If
it
you
mostly
want,
their old stuff?
it was mostly all their old stuff.
Yeah. I know a bunch of people who saw them and said it was really, really good.
Yeah,
And
and they
it,
killed it.
yeah, if there was any artist that like
And like I was right up there for them.
yeah, I mean, one like after Run the Jewels, I don't know if I like being that close anymore. And but like if there's any artist, certainly more than Little Baby, I would have liked to seen Green Day, especially knowing that they're really only playing their old stuff because like I like their old stuff. I think their old stuff still holds up.
Yeah, and Billy Joel Armstrong came out in a Metro
Yeah, that's very
shirt
cool. That's very cool.
because they were repping from the after show they played on Friday.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. And I consistently hear that they're extremely cool dudes. So that kind of biases at me. Just like they treat like local bands and like the people like the engineers in the studio really well.
Oh yeah,
And
like they
not
hyped
everyone
up.
does that. Like
Yeah, the song that hyped up the crowd was with Bohemian Rhapsody. Like before they jumped on, everyone's singing Bohemian Rhapsody
oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
all at once,
Yeah,
which was pretty cool.
I
And
love
then
I love when an artist does that. They play a song like almost like an entrance song, like a wrestling match.
exactly, and
Like
then they were super interactive with the crowd,
yeah.
and they even did a cover of "Shout" by the Isley Brothers.
Oh, Tears for Fears?
No, "Shout," the Isley Brothers.
Oh, okay. Oh, the song that plays at weddings.
Yes.
Oh. I thought it was the other shout.
Oh no.
Yeah, you know
No,
those like
they were
shout,
super.
shout, let it. Okay.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
I'm following now.
yeah. No, that's if there's any show that I was bummed about, there was really only two, and it was Little Baby, but then definitely more than this, Green Day, just because like especially if they're playing their old stuff, which is what I would expect at a festival, I probably would have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's what I was happy about. It was like all their old stuff.
Yeah, because I think we could all agree, and this is just the reason I have a bad taste in my mouth about Green Day, that their
Their new
stuff,
stuff sucks.
yeah, their new stuff, it's just bad. Like they're just not a good at making music anymore. But that's a completely different skill from performing, and you can totally still be good at performing. Like,
yeah,
look at Metallica. Like,
exactly. And they went on a run of doing really bad shows from.
yeah, they also were doing, yeah, because I've never heard anyone say Green Day has put on a bad. Well, no, that's actually not true. But for the most part, I've heard Green Day does really good shows. Metallica recovered from like a decade of like famously bad shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What made them bad?
say that again.
What made them bad?
Oh, just like low energy, short, only playing.
They were in a heavy drug and drinking phase.
Yeah.
Okay.
As every music.
Yeah.
I get you.
And then I finished off with Denzel Curry. And, you know, he's one of my golden boys. So seeing him was really cool. And he did pretty much all the big songs off, what's it called? Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. And it hit crazy. He came out to Walkin'.
Man, that song bangs.
Dude, dude, it was actually super interesting because he came out. It was almost exactly like Metallica. Because Metallica plays this song called Ecstasy of Gold. It's a song by Ennio Morricone. He's an Italian composer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has this song, Ecstasy of Gold, and Metallica came out to that. Denzel Walking also samples a song by the same composer. And before he came out, he played the song. So it felt very similar. And yeah, he did all the hits. There was at one point it felt like he teased it felt like he was about to tease Kid Cudi coming out, but he was like, "Ah, got your ass."
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. Which I would have been like, "Oh, that would have made this the show to see if Kid Cudi came out." And it was during that song they just put out.
Oh yeah. That would have been life changing.
Yeah. And you remember how I said like, oh, it didn't seem like Don Tolliver was ready for like that level,
Mm-hmm.
right? Denzel was almost like the opposite because he was on the Perry stage. It was the same stage as Little Dirk.
He was like, I need a bigger stage.
It was, you could tell he like the way he was moving, like the poses he was striking, like how engaged he was with the audience. You could tell that he was like he's outgrowing these smaller stages, like in terms of his shows.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing was the audio was the mix wasn't right, and it's not like Don Tolliver where like his voice was going in and out because like it wasn't working. It was just like the beat was overwhelming the voice.
Yeah, like they had the background.
Yeah,
all
just
that
kind of
higher-
like, and it was
higher than his voice.
yeah, higher than it should be. Yeah, and you could still hear it. Like it wasn't too bad, but it was definitely very noticeable.
Yeah.
But you know, he was the closer on the Perry stage, so I think that's a good indicator that in the next few years you might see him, you know,
Yep.
on a bigger
Yeah.
stage. I think.
Oh yeah,
Maybe 1 or 2 more steps.
Yeah,
because I see you closed the Perry stage. Your next step is being that second behind the headliner on the
Yeah.
T-Mobile or Bud Light stage.
my only thing is that. Oh, go ahead.
Because I think the Perry stage is like the third biggest stage. Like if you're headlining that, that's big.
I also think
Because your next step is just the main stage.
isn't that a stage that like Perry picks people like specifically for or something like that? I think I've heard that.
I think that's somewhat true, but I know that's the big EDM stage. Like you usually
for
see
the
all the
most part,
EDM
yeah.
artists.
Yes.
Yeah,
For
Like
sure.
that's going to be the stage where you get the
Cascade.
a lot of big pyro and a lot of pyro for that.
Yeah, which is crazy because there wasn't any pyro at Denzel.
Green Day had a bunch.
Yeah.
They had a lot more than Metallica.
Yeah, I can see that.
And Green Day's was actually different than Metallica. Like Green Day's wasn't just coming from the bottom. Like they had stuff like around the back of the drummer also,
Yeah.
which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
And I'm sure J-Hope had some
yeah.
pyro.
Oh, I'm sure his was absolutely crazy.
And it was pretty cool that right before J-Hope went on, Perry and Lori Lightfoot announced the new 10-year deal.
Yeah, yeah.
There you
But
go.
yeah, so that was every artist we saw at Lolla. Well, we saw some other. We saw Main Skin. It was like they were
Yeah.
fun. They were good. Like
And they're not too bad.
yeah, they're fun. Like but yeah, so that was every single artist we saw. So I guess my question for you guys is like, you know, Purvis has dived into it a little bit, but like, how do you just surmise like Lolla as an experience?
I think that's just how you summarize it. It's an experience.
Yeah, but like, why do you like do you like going there and why?
I just like the whole. I talked about this on air when I was filling in Friday. Like what I like is like you see like a Main Skin or like a Denzel Curry or a Charlie XCX or even like Peter Cottontail closing out or being on a smaller stage and Vic and Chance coming out for that. Like you see these smaller names on these smaller stages, and then to see them eventually headline at one point, like a couple years ago in 2019 when we won, you remember when Tyler Yahi, he jumped in the crowd
Yeah,
and he was on one of the smallest stages. And then when I went last year, he's on stage headlining and coming out, or not headlining, he came out with Post Malone, who was headlining,
yeah,
and like seeing him come out on the main stage, closing out a night with Post Malone, which was really awesome to see. Like, see him start off on those small stages, and that's what Lollapalooza really is. You get these no-name artists at one point, like Vic and Chance. They were all on small stages at one point,
yeah,
and now they can headline it.
yeah. I saw Sofago at the same stage that we saw Tyler Yahi.
Yeah, like, and then you're gonna see eventually they'll be on the Perry stage,
Yeah,
and then they'll be at the T-Mobile or Bud Light
yeah.
stage.
It was also the same stage Denzel was at that same year that we went.
Exactly.
It was a different day.
Now,
Yeah,
and then now look at him. He's
yeah. He's on the Perry stage.
Perry stage,
I
and
think-
then his next bet. Go on.
I think that sense of evolution is very much an appeal for a lot of people. Like just being
Yeah,
able to
that's-
see as like artists grow.
Yeah, and that's what I like going. It's
Yeah,
cool to see.
yeah,
And then, that's like being with the radio station and all that. Eventually, when I do get a media pass, on these smaller stages, connecting with like their reps and connecting with the artist more. And then, the more they grow, the more connections that you have with them. It's cool to have and grow like that.
yeah. No, that's definitely very cool. I think like the main appeal for me is just like the festival format, you know? Just like
Hmm.
what artists can do with like these massive stages, these massive teleprompters, you know, these lights, pyrotechnics, lasers, all that shit. Like that's a lot of stuff to play with, and I think, you know, Jeff just went over how Green Day can use that for their creativity. Metallica certainly used it for their ends. Janelle Monáe, Childish, all of them. So my question
And
is,
even for like Metallica, that stage was set up differently for Metallica only. After that, they set up the stage differently for
yeah,
everyone else.
yeah, because they put it was almost like a
They had a
double tiered stage because they had like the runway go out like extra
hmm
long and they had the drums on the runway.
yeah, it was like a horseshoe almost.
Yeah, and absolutely insane what you can do with like that scale, and just look at like
Mm.
J. Cole, because like we got to see him in that arena setting, and like there was some cool stagecraft, you know like I remember the basketball hoop that would catch on fire like on the album cover.
Yep.
Like that was like a really cool thing that like you weren't able to see at Lolla. But even though the experience is so much more diluted because you're there with if it's a heavy group like 40,000 people, I do think like you get a better experience like from being in that crowd. Like I thought our spot for J. Cole was way better than our seats were at the UC.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And even if honestly, I don't even know distance wise if it's even better, but just the fact that you're on this level playing field with the entire crowd and you're a part of a bigger picture, it just hits different outside. I feel like.
Yeah. And also just like that area alone is just such a it's an iconic place to put a stage. Like the
Mm.
skyline, the view, everything about it is just top tier. So I guess my question is like what artists are you excited about seeing in this festival format? Like who are names, whether you've seen them or not, that you're like, oh, I see them closing a Lolla because that's the festival in our town. You're gonna go see it.
Oh, I just actually took the survey that Lollapalooza sends you, and they ask recommendations for future years. I maybe not hip hop, but I definitely see Billie Eilish being a headliner.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely see that. Billie Eilish
I
is a huge
I,
name.
I think Beyonce is going to be one that has a chance for it next year.
Beyonce would be huge.
Insane.
Beyonce
She's
would.
bigger than.
She's bigger than
that
Lolla.
platform. She doesn't even have to do that.
Yeah, she's huge. Jesus
That
Christ,
would be
Beyonce
insane.
goes,
Right.
then I'm basically required to go to Lolla.
Look, I'm telling you right now, wherever Frank Ocean's next concert is,
Yeah, like,
I'm gonna be there.
like, could you imagine Frank Ocean on the T-Mobile stage? Like,
Frank Ocean's definitely going to be there.
yeah,
Bro,
he was
we'll
supposed
sitting
to
on
be
stage
like there in
crying at the
2020,
sideline.
right?
Yeah.
And I would wait there all day. I don't think there's.
I was gonna say I will get front row seats.
I would
go
be
see
there.
all the trash artists before.
I
them.
would bury a cooler in Grant Park. And
Yeah.
If
No,
Eminem is
that's some
doing
serious
one
stuff.
last farewell concert, I think he's going to do Lollapalooza also.
that would be kind of dope if he did his old stuff mostly.
No, I think if anything, he'll do it for this curtain call too.
Right.
Yeah, but
That'd be his farewell.
that would be a big one. Yeah, someone I really want to see, like just because I want to see them, but also and their set at Lolla was legendary. Is the Black Keys.
Yeah,
I
that'd
would
be
love
pretty
to
cool
see
there.
them at Lolla. I would love to see Run the Jewels close Lolla.
Yeah, same
Sure.
here.
Just because, like, I saw them at Riot Fest, and that was great, especially because of how close I was. but like Riot Fest, like in terms of just pure scale, like it's great, but it's not Lolla. It just isn't. Like,
Yeah.
just in terms of pure scale. And then
Rage Against the Machine, I would love to see them at Lollapalooza one last time.
yeah. Oh, Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, would probably be.
I was literally just about to tell you he's here on the 19th.
I also think
it's only $95.
Oh, 95. I can't do 95. I'm sorry. Like,
Oh,
if you could do
I'm so close.
if you could do a scholarship for this, I'm down. But like
I literally just looked it up.
Schoolboy Q is another one.
Schoolboy Q. Oh yeah,
huge.
He would have a great. He would do great work with that format. And then we already said it, but Denzel Curry.
For me, he was just here, but The Weeknd.
Yeah, The Weeknd is another one who, like, given like the Lolla stage, I think could really do something great. And fuck, there was another one that was on the tip of my head.
I mean, Childish Gambino.
Yeah,
bring him back.
Yeah. Oh, I literally had it again, and it's Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi, I would love to see in this context. Like, I've already seen Kid Cudi a bunch of times, but like, could you imagine 40,000 people doing Cudi hums with you?
Yes, that would be kind of dope.
Yeah, like
that 50,000 people humming to Kid Cudi.
Just or just like day and night with that many people, like in the middle of the skyline. Come on.
That would be very dangerous.
That would be so dope.
Yeah. But I think that kind of like wraps up our talk about Lolla this year, guys.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. But definitely going to be something, especially now that I have this podcast where I talk about music, definitely not going to be missing this again.
Yeah, no.
Even if I just go for one day. Like,
at least one day.
Yeah, like at least one day.
Who knows? Lil Wayne might pop up. It's just like, I gotta go.
That'd be fun. Yeah, like especially because like one day passes are not that incredibly expensive.
No, and if you get them early.
Yeah, especially if you can get them early. And like the other thing is, you know, we were lucky enough to get 4-day passes, and this wasn't even a particularly good year. Like
nope.
Like even looking back, like at how good the sets we saw were, like. It still was a weak year, really. Like,
yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
I feel like I went on the best day for me. So
you definitely did. All right, gentlemen, are we ready to do recommendations?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jeff, you want to go first?
I gotta think.
We got some time.
Yeah.
Should I start it off then?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Someone else.
Okay. I have an extreme throwback.
Extreme throwback.
There is a group called the Friends of Distinction that drops a song going in circles. I don't know how I found this song. I think it was on TikTok, but it's like apparently an old classic that I just never knew about. This song absolutely is amazing. It's such a good song.
Absolutely by who?
No, it's really good. It's called The Friends of Distinction. It's called Going in Circles.
Okay.
So like it's a throwback, so don't expect nothing crazy.
Damn. No, I'll have to look into that. I love a throwback.
The one I have, I don't know how I came across this. Probably, I don't know. It's Meet Me at Our Spot by the Anxiety, Willow, and Tyler Cole.
Oh. I haven't heard of that.
Came out in 2020. So pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk a lot about how the pandemic affected music releases.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think it was probably through a TikTok or something. That's probably how I came across it. But, yeah, that's my recommendation.
All right.
Okay.
All right, my first one, I'm going to recommend Dust in a Baggie by Billy Strings. He was the guy who impressed me the most at Lolla, I'd say. besides the greatest band that ever exists. So I wanted to give him a shout out. Wanted to list one of his songs. This is an excellent bluegrass song about exactly what you think it is.
Dust in the bag, nice. Okay. My second song would actually be a Thundercat song, "Fair Chance."
Oh, I love Thundercat.
So good, it's so good. I don't know. It's just such an entertaining, like feel good type of music. I don't know
It's
how.
so it's it's like so complex and intricate, but also so easy to just vibe to.
Right.
And that's like an interesting distinction because it's not many artists who do like that specifically.
It is very difficult to make your music consumable when it's that advanced.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Little B is featured in the song.
Done. Listening to it now. Bass God, Bass God. Bass God to close Lollapalooza 2020 forever.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
Too far.
Second one is going to be Jane by Jefferson Starship. Taking it back to a classic from 1979.
Damn, that's a real big classic. But that's a stoner anthem though.
Yeah.
Do I know the song, Brandon?
No, Jefferson
no.
Starship
Okay.
is like real old. Wait, give me 1 second, because
It's more of a breakup song, I'd say, but I came across it and I just can't get enough of it.
Jefferson Starship. Okay.
1979.
For some reason, I always confuse them with Jefferson Airplane, which I think is completely valid because it's the same name and then a different aircraft. Like,
yes, so you're partially right.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'll have to give that. I've heard of Jefferson Starship, but haven't heard this song, so that's definitely something.
It's a breakup song.
Yeah, it's massive.
This has 54 million streams.
Yeah.
And it's from 1979. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I will be checking it out.
All right. I'm gonna reference my last recommendation is one of my favorite songs of all time. I haven't listened to it in like maybe a year for some reason, and it popped up on shuffle, and man, oh, it felt so good. And that's "Swamp" by Brockhampton.
Wow.
Yeah, fucking commas up from the outside.
Wow.
One of the greatest hooks of all time.
That's like one of our first freaking phrases. That in our shooter speak Spanish.
Yeah. No, that
Jesus Christ.
I stand by that is one of the best hooks of all time.
I gotta go listen to Brockhampton. Yeah. Here we go.
That's a classic.
Yeah, that's a classic. Saturation 2, definitely a classic.
Okay. 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 I'll give it to you. You know what? I'll give it to you.
All right. Jeff, do you want to plug anything before you go?
Oh, well, you can go give me a follow on Facebook at Jeff on Star 105.5 or follow me on Instagram at Jeff McGue 91.
Send me the links. We'll make sure we put that in the episode description.
Yes, sir.
You got it.
All right.
That's all I want to plug.
Yeah, no, that's it. Well, that's all you got, then that's all we got. So this was a fun week. This was a real easy podcast because it was just something we did.
Yep, I knew it was going to be.
Yeah, no. And yeah, thank you for listening to us rant about Lollapalooza. And until they announce the lineup next year, where we inevitably complain about it.
And still go.
And then still go. Yeah. Although I think I hope next year we're at least a little bit more honest with ourselves.
Okay, that's true. That is true. We won't be, but
because like my defense for myself this year was one, I had the pandemic in between the last time I went to Lolla and that. But no, now we're gonna talk shit and then still go. Bye, everybody.